if you're not a subscriber, think about hitting that like button, then smashing that subscribe button to be the first to hear our messages when they appear. Visit our website, helpinggetvictory.org.
And a voice of rescue with a word to rescue for your training and overcome, entitled Trained, Not Troubled. This is message number 15 of the 400 series, His Power, Our Balance. The We translation of Matthew 6 verse 12 reads, "Forgive us for the wrongs we have done, the way we forgive those who have done wrong things to us." Forgive is to send forth, to send away from ourselves. To leave alone means I let go. I abandon, I release, I depart. I let it depart, expire, discharge. To no longer keep in our heart. Forgiveness and prayer then becomes a proper send away, much like a funeral where you are putting someone to rest. When we forgive, we are putting the sins of others to rest from our heart. That means that we leave it behind. We care not for, not to discuss, or respond. So we forgive the wrong thing or things that are done to us. The shortcomings, the faults, and offenses in the form or the manner or the way of what? Moral, which is the failure to do good, and ethical, which is the failure to do what is right, decent, or proper. Now, this is according to God's standard, not the world's standard, meaning that it is failure to live up to what God requires of us. Therefore, it is also a debt that is delinquent, owed, or due. Why? Because it is the way that we are expected to show up ethically and morally as God's people in this world. This is what we owe as God's people, because we were sent into this world to tell of God's excellent qualities. And so we started the Lord's Prayer requesting that our lives revolve around God's name being kept holy, and the glory and honor of His name, that it becomes our focus. So while glory reflects our high opinion of God's worth, honor assigns a value to God's name. And so consequently, in forgiving, God is calling us to make up our mind, come to the decision, choose the verdict, adopt the conclusion of putting an end to the sin that was done, acted, performed against us, not in favor of us, hostile to and in opposition to us, to resign it from our heart. This is how we put it to death. We give notice that we are resigning and handing it over to God's care, His attention, His consideration, and notice to God through our communication, through the communication of our heart in prayer. Therefore, we stay forgiving by constantly forgiving, sending forth and away from ourselves the wrongdoings of others, leaving their violations behind and alone, putting their wrong behavior away and to rest from our heart. Our letting their disobedience go is our response. We don't care for it, keep it in our heart, or discuss those who sin against us. We are constantly being set free as we set free. We forgive and we are forgiven. So we abandon, discharge their attack by releasing it and letting it expire. We take it to God and not to heart. You see, the power of forgiveness is that it keeps us free, light, right, and forgiven. And most importantly, it allows us to correct ourselves, die to our expectation, and to also reset our expectation. We are correcting our hope from people to God, our belief from people to God, our trust from people to God, because as long as evil is present, people will be faced with the temptation to sin. As long as people are subject to sin, they are subject to fail, to fall, and to disappoint. And so we can only achieve perfection following Jesus, who is God's example of perfection. Because he was tempted by Satan, but he did not yield to sin. He resisted and he said no. And even at the cross, Jesus said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. For me, that says that they are not in their right mind because God is not in their heart. And so as long as we refuse to forgive, we are holding on to what we want people to be. We could actually be keeping them from their process because we are holding them to what they did. And so when we forgive, we let it up. We yield up. We give up the wrong into the care of God and cast it over into God's hand.
A voice of rescue, training overcoming. Thank you for listening to this message. We pray that it was a blessing. Now, if you're not a subscriber, think about hitting that like button. Then smash that subscribe button to be the first to hear our messages when they appear. Also visit our website, helpinggetvictory.org, to learn more about how victory starts with Jesus. high.